Hey, everybody, welcome to the Love Experience Show. I am your host, Ashley J. Okay, here's my co host. What's your name?
Marquise.
All right. Welcome to the Love Experience Show. We are so happy that you're here with us today. Go ahead and, excuse me, go ahead and share this episode with 5 people. Get 5 people to watch with you. And
Like all my videos.
like this episode, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I drop a new episode.
I'm like my videos too.
There you go. I'm so happy to see y'all tonight. Today I'm just glad to be here. Last week, what happened? Last week was a very busy week for me, and I got behind last Thursday on some work. So, and I had some other stuff happening. So that's why we didn't have an episode last week, and I apologize for that. But we're here today, and we're talking about it's not a love fluffy sunshine and rainbows topic we are discussing tonight. We are talking about, as you can see, who do you think you are? And that is the title for the episode, and this is why. There have been it's been a moment where recently I've realized that a lot of people don't know they are being abused. And I'm sitting and I'm talking with people, and a lot of people do not know that they are being abused by their partner. And that is what I want to talk about tonight. This is a difficult subject, but it is a subject where it hits close to home for me, not because of my marriage, but growing up in a household, um, or being in a household in a environment where abuse was often, like all the time. So that's why it's a difficult subject for me. And I can say that I've been in situations where I've received emotional and verbal abuse. So there there are things that happen that lets you know, that cues you in on whether or not you're being abused. And first is controlling. So what happens is, you may think of it as sweet, and it's not. So someone will be controlling everything you do. They are controlling where you go, who you spend time with. They're controlling what you say, how you dress. They are controlling every aspect of your life, telling you they don't want you to do certain things. They may not want you to go to the gym and work out and keep yourself self healthy. They may want to stop you from being around people who motivate you to be the best version of yourself. You may experience that. Hey, Ma, you may experience that. And you may experience the person controlling when you have kids, and when you don't, when you have sex and when you don't. You may if you're a parent, you understand why I just made that face. Okay. You made they just take over your life. Your life does not belong to you anymore. It belongs to them. And you are looked at as someone is who needs to be controlled. You don't know what you're doing with your life. So they need to take over and make sure you understand that since you do such a bad job with running your life, then they are going to run it for you. That's what happens. Um, no thumbs up for that. So, I wanted to also, let me jump back for a second. I wanted to also discuss this because we are running up on the holiday times. And holidays, there tends to be an uptick in abuse. Um, there's financial, like a lot of people may want you to isolate from family. They don't want you around family. There's a uptick of abuse, and tensions can get high, and it can be shown in a way of, my mom said to come see her.
Why?
It may be shown in a way of hitting, in a way of violence. Goodness. Sorry, y'all. In a way of violence, okay? So you'll see a lot of this and you'll hear a lot about it in the weeks to come, in the next month or so, okay? One thing that I want to explain to you guys is that abuse occurs in a cycle. So what do I mean by a cycle? There is the build-up phase. The build-up phase is typically the first phase of abuse, and is characterized by minor battering incidents and or emotional abuse over imagined or real infractions of rules and expectations of the other partner. And I am it's funny, I came up with this topic, and I have a little area next to my desk that has some books, and they fell over. And I have a few of my master's program notebooks down here. And the one that was on top was about abuse. So yeah, I decided to use it. So yes, you have some minor, like I said, the build up, minor situations where you may break a rule, and you're unknowingly breaking a rule, maybe or maybe not, and your partner sees this. And I'm not going to say this is just males doing this, because there's just as many females abusing their partners as there are males. So there may be a situation where they see, the build up, and you're breaking rules. Those rules may be you went out when they didn't want you to go out, or you cooked the wrong meal for them, or so many other things. That's the build up. And building up, like build up on, let's say, a dishwasher, or build up on a, washing machine or something. Build up is just things of dirt, that's just dirtiness that's just piling up on top of the other. And that is what's happening. You have one infraction over another infraction that is happening over and over again. And your partner is adding those things up, and they're piling it up, and it's piling up, and until there's a moment of explosion. So their minor battery may be your partner maybe shaking you, partner maybe pushing you. That would be considered minor. It may not be minor, but that's what's considered as minor. And then you have the second phase, and that is the acute battering, or the crisis phase. This phase is when no controls are left, as far as the person controlling themselves, stopping themselves from hitting, or um, calling you out your name, or whatever the case may be. So there's no controls left. The inevitable result of escalating tension and anger brings out the most abusive violence. The acute battering incident is distinguished from other kinds of incidents because of the intense discharge, major destructiveness, extreme emotional release at its most negative, and because this incident cannot be predicted or controlled in any way. That's what it is. And this phase is the briefest phase, it's the shortest phase. So that's just one big blow up and then they're done. That's it. Nothing else happens. It's not something that's carried on like in phase one, the buildup. It's not something that is consistently being carried on. It's one huge explosion, like a bubble bursting, a huge bubble bursting, and it sprays solution all over the place when it bursts. That's what this is like. Okay. And then you have the honeymoon phase. Yes, there is a honeymoon phase in the cycle of abuse. Just like there's a honeymoon phase in the beginning of a relationship. In the cycle of abuse, there is the honeymoon phase. And in this phase, it is uh the individual may become very loving, and they will exhibit tremendous kindness and I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I need to try, I have to control my temper, I'm going to get help for this, I'm really really sorry. That's what's happening in this phase. And that typically comes when, or not typically, a honeymoon phase will come in any situation, but that is, let's say, the person, the individual decides, you know what, I'm done with this, I can't take this anymore, I'm over it. So they decide to leave. So they leave. And then the person, I'm so sorry, I promise I won't do this anymore, I won't do that, I won't do this, please come back to me, I don't know what my life is going to be like without you here, come back, I need you in my life. I promise I'm not going to yell at you anymore. I promise I'm not going to slap you anymore. I promise I'm not going to call you out of your name or anything. I promise. All of the promises in the world come in the honeymoon phase. Let me take you, let me show you that I'm a different person. Let me take you out to dinner, or let me fix this, or let me take care of the kids. I'll show you that I can be better. But really, this is just a phase, and it doesn't last, because then you go right back to the build-up phase. Eventually this honeymoon phase is going to end, and this is how it happens. And it happens when, you know the person can continue to use other forms of abuse. So maybe they didn't lie, maybe they won't put their hands on you again, but there are other forms of abuse. Did y'all know that there are more forms of abuse rather than just physical abuse? That's the one we hear the most about, because hey, that's where you see people, you see it. That's where you see it. You see physical abuse, but there's also other forms of abuse. I'm trying to find a resource to show y'all or to bring up. All right, so types of abuse. You have, like I said, physical abuse, then you have emotional or psychological abuse, you have sexual abuse, and then you have digital abuse, financial abuse, and then stalking is considered a form of abuse. So this is not a gossip show, but just to kind of bring this home for you. Earlier it came out that, I don't know if y'all remember Cassie, the singer. Um, she was in a relationship with, um, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying this person's name. So she was in a relationship with a very well known music producer. And because of their relationship, or apparently in their relationship, she came out today and said that she was physically abused and sexually abused. And this is the thing, people tend not to think that sexual abuse can happen in a relationship, in a marriage, but it can. Because even though you are married to someone or you're in a committed relationship with someone, even though you have that, there will be times where you don't want to have sex. You don't want to be touched, but they do. So then the sexual abuse comes in by them taking it. They're taking it against your will. It happens all the time. I don't know. I can't remember if it's a law or not, but there is a, or maybe just the cops don't have that much training, but I've heard stories where they'll say, "Well, I called the police and they couldn't do anything because they said that's my husband or that's my wife." They couldn't do anything. For men, it's a little worse because when you think of a man, you think of someone who is strong or stronger than their wife. But sexual abuse does happen to them. They can get overpowered by their wives. It happens. And they get laughed at. You mean to tell me you could not fight this little girl off of you? Every man is not a fighter. So yes, it can happen to him. So you had, like I said, we got those forms of abuse. So let's dive into it. Physical abuse is violence or threats of violence. That means the person is getting hit, punched, kicked, hair pulled, and other forms of physical harm. Um, there is objects being used or weapons to use to cause harm. Uh, they might be held down. It's a physical restraint. Um, this is also looking like the partner preventing the other partner from eating or sleeping, and then using threats to repeat the physical harm. So think of it as this, as if you hear some of these tragic stories about children and how children are abused and they're neglected, their food is taken from them, or they're not allowed to eat because they were bad, quote unquote bad, for that day or that one moment, and they get starved. The same thing can happen to an adult in a relationship. And think of it this way: sleeping and starving someone, not letting someone sleep or starving them. Those are avenues that could lead to death. And I say sleeping can lead to death because if you do not, I went through insomnia one night, and it was just one night. It was terrible. And I was off my rocker. Couldn't see straight, head was spinning. Um it was bad. But imagine having, I don't know if you've had insomnia, but I cannot imagine having insomnia or not being allowed to sleep for more than one night. I could not imagine it because that is literal torture. And because of that torture, it's so many dangerous things that could happen. So let's say someone is being deprived of sleep and they decide to get behind the wheel. That could lead to death because they're away from the stressor. They could easily decide, not decide, but their body could take over, and they could fall asleep while driving, or because they're so sleep deprived, they can't think straight, so they could harm somebody else. Starving someone can absolutely lead to death. So, like I said, this is not a sunshine and rainbows episode. This is just me bringing to light some things that's going to happen. It's not possibly things that will happen with the holiday season coming up. Okay, so and then the use of weapons. There's situations where people get beat up with baseball bats, hammers. They might get cut, stabbed. It's terrible. I'm sure an ER nurse could tell you some of the things that they see. It's terrible. It's terrible. Um, when there's an abuser, for most of them, it's a no holds bar. All they see is a person that is enraging them, and they need to get rid of the thing that is raging them. So they may beat somebody until they are done being mad, and then blame it on the person that they're beating. Go figure. So that is physical abuse. Then emotional and psychological abuse. This is insults, threats, isolation, extreme jealousy, and controlling behaviors. That would be, excuse me, name calling, belittling, humiliation, yelling and screaming, controlling what partner does, what they wear, and where they go, isolation from friends and family, threatening to commit suicide if the partner leaves, threatening to kill the partner, their loved ones, or pets, destroying something important to the partner, um, gaslighting, manipulating partner into questioning their own sanity. That is a buzzword. And then blaming partner for abusive behavior. Gaslighting is a buzzword, okay? Because there's a lot of people that's throwing that around along with someone is a narcissist. So, gaslighting, I don't know if y'all ever seen that movie. That movie is crazy. Um because it's an old movie, I think like 30s. It came out in the 30s, I think. And it's this husband, he he's making his wife feel like she's going crazy. He's doing all types of stuff, like he'll hide in the attic and make noises in the attic, just a whole bunch of things to make her go crazy. That's where that term came from. So, manipulating a person into believing that they're crazy. That's what gaslighting is. And it happens so much. You kind of see an uptick with gaslighting when it comes to cheating. Uh, the moment where a woman starts to believe that or a male is starting to believe that their partner is cheating on them. So what they will do is, hey, I feel like, something is up. Everything okay? Um, are you cheating? Are whatever? No, you crazy. Why would you think I'm cheating on you? You crazy. And we'll continue the conversation on and go through days or whatever where the person is really questioning, well, I must be imagining things. So there's times where someone is like has so much anxiety built up inside of them because they are believing that their partner they believe their partner is cheating, but their partner is making them believe that they are crazy. And they they might do things like go through their partner's phone or check their partner's location or they could I don't know, put a bug in their partner's vehicle or whatever, and then say, I would never ever cheat on you. Why would you say that? That person is projecting on you. And they're trying to gaslight you to make you believe that you're tripping. Okay. So that's what you have for emotional and psychological abuse. Okay. Then you have uh sexual abuse. That is unwanted sexual contact, forcing pregnancy, or forcing partner to terminate a pregnancy. So, persistent unwanted comments about partner's body or sexuality, unwanted kissing or touching, threatening or coercing partner into unwanted sexual activity, um, forced sexual contact or attempted forced sexual contact, preventing access to contraception, refusing to use it, or purposefully damaging it, harming the partner in order to force a miscarriage, or purposely infecting someone with an STD or an STI. That's what that is. Okay. Um, that is, it's really sad that some people will stoop to that. But it's a form of abuse. Um, it happens all the time. And then you also have these, I guess they're cults. They try to pass off as religions, but you have these cults that will force sexual contact on someone who is underage, and they'll use some type of perversion like being God's messenger, or saying that, I don't know, their spirit told them to do this. That is sexual abuse that is disguised as, or making the person believe that it's just being disguised as an act of their religion. It's their religious duty to do this. No, that's abuse. And that's abuse by someone who's in power. It's terrible. It's an abuse that's by someone who's in power, so they can have their way and be a pedophile, without raising any objections. That's disgusting. Completely honest with y'all. That is disgusting. Okay. Um, and then giving people STIs. STIs are things that most of them you can't get rid of. You cannot get rid of it. So you're changing somebody's life unwillingly. Like if someone gets AIDS, contracts AIDS, you have changed that person's life unwillingly. And that is even if maybe you don't force sex on them, but you do this. That's abuse. You know what's wrong with you. Why wouldn't you share that? Why would you want to put somebody in harm's way on purpose? It's terrible. So then you have the other types of abuse: digital abuse, constantly demanding to look through partner's phone, monitoring their emails and texts, posting hurtful information or pictures on social media, or sending threatening texts or emails. Excuse me. You have financial abuse, using money to manipulate and control partner, not allowing them to work or go to school, not giving them money for necessities, or stealing their money or possessions. And then stalking, A pattern of following, monitoring, or harassing someone, causing them to fear for their safety. So I can tell you, it's a whole lot of people that's out here digitally abusing someone. Okay, a whole lot of people, and they do not realize it. Stop going through your partner's phone. Stop. Stop. Um, what else did it say? Stop trying to see emails and all of that. Stop posting negative, nasty stuff about that partner. Stop posting nasty pictures, whatever those pictures may be. And then financial abuse. Financial abuse, that is a way for your partner to control you. Financial abuse is a form of control just as much as it is abusive. It's a form of control. They want to make sure you can't just leave. So they're going to take control of your finances. Because God forbid you decide to leave this situation. Can't do it if you don't have your money. That's what it is. They want to keep you from walking out on them. They need to hold on to you for a little bit longer so they can abuse you just a little more time. They need a little more time. And then that crazy foolishness of threatening to commit suicide, that's not cool. Suicide, having suicidal ideations is a serious thing. And if that is a way someone is trying to control you, then guess what you need to do? Go ahead and call 911. Let them, hey, this person is over here saying that if I leave them, they're going to commit suicide. I've been getting abused and I need to leave. And they're telling me that they're going to commit suicide. They'll come pick them up. Let them do a stint in the hospital. Do that 72-hour hold. And as they do that, that's when you make your exit. It's not time for you to chill. That's when you make your exit because they're not there. So get gone, leave, get everything that belongs to you, take it and go. If you are in, living in the same home, take it and go. You don't owe them anything. They did it for them to themselves. Oh, you said you was gonna commit. Oh, okay. So you're holding me against my will, and you're threatening suicide. Okay. Either way, you're going to be being taken out of the house. Hey, Auntie. Either way, you'll be removed from the home. So go ahead and make your exit. Okay. And then stalking. Listen, the girl has had a couple stalkers, but I I don't think I've had a stalker. I wasn't stalked. I don't think I was stalked. Maybe I was, and I can't remember. Stalked by someone that I was dating. So let me remind you, stalking is a pattern of following, monitoring, or harassing someone, causing them to fear for their safety. You you can there's always you just turn on the ID channel and there are people who are going through stalking, and stalking often starts before the next level, which is kidnapping or um, canceling somebody's life. Okay, so there was a situation. There was this was back in the 90s, and I always remember this story because somehow it always comes across my view or whatever. There was this lady that was dating this man for a long time, had to get rid of him because he was crazy. So she broke up with him, met somebody new, and they got married. They were getting married. On her wedding day, I think this was in New York, I believe. On her wedding day, the ex came to her house as she was taking her wedding photos and took her life. He took her life. He was stalking her before that. He had been following her and watching where she was and who she was with and all of the things, found out she was getting married and lied to her family. Her family saw him outside of the home and they're like, hey, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be here. He was like, oh no, it's all good. I was invited. Excuse me. So he made his way into the house. Soon as he saw her in her wedding dress, he started shooting and took her life. It started with stalking. If all of these situations will change your entire life, and it could change the people that you're surrounded by, it could change their life as well. If you are experiencing any of these forms of abuse, guess what? You could leave at any time. No matter what they try to tell you, you can go at any time. If you need to, call the police. Have them come and get you out of the house. You can leave. It is your right to get out of there. It is your right to save your own life because the impacts of abuse can be lifelong. And what I mean by that, yeah, your bruises will heal, the broken bones will heal, but what about the psychological damage? If you have children, what about the psychological damage of your children? You can go. Nobody is making you stay. They are telling you that lie to keep you under their thumb, but nobody is making you stay. You have to break free. When you get tired, you will leave. But what if that is too late? Your life is way more precious than waiting until you're fed up. Take it from somebody who watched their mother get abused pretty much on a daily basis, or even having my own altercations with this person. You can go, before it is too late. My mother got a warning. Not everybody can hear the warning. So go ahead, leave while you still can. Because all it takes is one wrong hit for you to never be amongst the breathing again, or being choked a little too long and you can't be revived. And as soon as you can get out, as soon as you can take charge of your life again, get counseling because you're going to need it. If not, you will constantly live in a space of fear. And that fear can make you stop living. So go ahead and get out. Go ahead and get free. I'm telling you to. As a child of someone that's been abused, and I had psychological abuse on my in my own relationship in the past. I've had psychological abuse. And as a therapist, I am telling you, go. Get you a go bag, have it in the car or wherever where it's ready to go, and you can get out of there. Oh yeah, and the abusers, they will come to therapy. They will play the role. They'll come to therapy and play the game. I really want to get better. And then when the therapist starts to point them out, tell them that they are the issue, they run. I don't want to do therapy. Therapy is not for me. What? I don't need therapy. We're fine. You just need to listen. You just need to stay in line. That therapist was on your side. We're not doing therapy and nothing can get fixed. If you want to stay in an abusive relationship, by all means, don't let me stop you. But I can tell you that there is better on the other side of all of that. Yeah, I typically come and talk to you guys about different facets of love and relationships. But this is an area that is not concentrated enough on. We don't pay enough attention to this area. So I had to talk about it tonight. So if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I see if there's anything else that I want to discuss. Um, and then some of the side effects of abuse can be low self esteem. It can be anger issues. You'll possibly want to start controlling other people, um, maybe even substance use. That's what happens. It can be a result. May not be able to sleep, may have anxiety and depression, definitely will have trust issues, and you could have emotional distance. That means you can't ever let anyone get close to you because you can't trust that they have your best interest in mind. Um, it was something I was looking for in particular that I'm not seeing. I mean, this, y'all tell me what you think. Here we go. So, let's see. There's, I've talked to you guys before about the attachment styles, and someone who is abusive will fall into a form of attachment style called insecure attachment. And that is typically someone who is anxious, has an anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, or anxious avoidant attachment. And that is the push and pull through relationships. Um, and people will, play with your behaviors of, wanting to, you may want someone constantly. You might meet somebody that doesn't want to be bothered. Abuse comes up in one of those forms, okay? And the blow up comes because someone gets overwhelmed with their emotions. They were never taught how to handle emotions. So the only way they know how to handle it is blowing up. That's it. Okay. I thought I found it, but I did not find it. I did not find it, I don't think. So anybody have any questions or any comments? If I come across a couple or even an individual that is going through abuse, I I will say, I'm gonna be honest, I will get triggered sometimes. Depending on the situation, I can get triggered because I'm not all the way healed from it. But I do know that if I can't handle it, I will get I'll put the person I'll give the person somebody new. I will refer them out. I have not come across that yet. But it can happen. And just know, like, yeah, I'm a therapist, and there's a lot of other therapists out there who have been in abusive situations one way or another. It's still human. You still can get affected by trying to help someone. So, what I want you to do, be aware of what happens during the holiday season. Be aware of, you know, how people get overwhelmed, and make sure that if someone is becoming overwhelmed, You recognize it, and if need be, you remove yourself from the situation. Okay? There's typically some telltale signs. If you have a partner, you will you may know their signs of when they're ready to burst. If you don't, I hope that you will pay attention to protect yourself. All right. All right, y'all. Nobody else has anything to say. I love y'all. And I'm trying to decide if we're gonna have a Thanksgiving edition of the Love Experience show. We may. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure yet. Okay, y'all. I love you. And if I don't see you next week, have a great Thanksgiving with your family. Okay, guys. Until we chat again. Oh, if you would like to be a guest on the Love Experience show, go ahead and let me know. You can find me. I'm going to put up my contact info there. So you find me on all social media at it's Ashley JW. It's Ashley JW. And then my email is Ashley at it's AshleyJ.com. I know that this was a different type of episode tonight. Y'all let me know what you think of it. And I had to do it because I care about you. All right. Okay, guys. Nobody else has anything to say. Then I will chat with y'all later. Bye.